with President Medvedev of Russia. And we actually had a very good dialogue, and we spoke about the fact that although both of us were born during the Cold War, we came of age after the Cold War had already begun to decline, which means we have a slightly different attitude than somebody who was seeing Russia only as the Soviet Union only as an enemy, or who saw America only as an enemy. So young people, they can get rid of some of the old baggage and the old suspicions, and I think that's very important. But understanding alone is not enough. Then we actually have to do the work. For the United States, I think that means that we have to make sure that our actions are responsible. So on international issues like climate change, we have to take leadership. If we are producing a lot of the pollution that's causing global warming, then we have to step forward and say, here's what we're willing to do, and then ask countries like China to join us. If we want to say to Iran, don't develop nuclear weapons, because if you develop them, then everybody in the region is going to want them, and you'll have a nuclear arms race in the Middle East, and that will be dangerous for everybody. If we want to say that to the Iranians, it helps if we are also saying, and we will reduce our own, so that we have more moral authority in making those claims. If we want to communicate to countries that we sincerely care about the well-being of their people, then we have to make sure that our aid programs and our assistance programs are meaningful. Words are good and understanding is good, but ultimately it has to translate into concrete actions. And it takes time. I was just talking to my press team, and they were amused because some of my reporter friends from the States were asking, how come you haven't solved everything on this trip? I said, well, you know, it's only been a week. These things take time, and the idea is that you lay the groundwork, and slowly over time, if you make small efforts, they can add up into big efforts, and that's, I think, the approach that we want to take in promoting more peace and prosperity around the world. Okay, let me make sure I get all sides of the room here. This young lady, right? Go ahead.
In one of your interviews, you said you want us to be a member of European Union. Mm-hmm. But after that, Nicolas Sarkozy told that it's not yours, it's the European Union's decision. Now I want to ask you that. What's your opinion? And why Nicolas Sarkozy said that? Is that because he's more likely to support so-called Armenian genocide?
You know, I don't think, well, first of all, it's true, I'm not a member, the United States is not a member of the European Union. So it's not our decision to make, but that doesn't prevent me from having an opinion. I mean, I noticed the Europeans have had a lot of opinions about U.S. policy for a long time, right? They haven't been shy about giving us suggestions about what we should be doing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with us reciprocating. That's what friends do. We try to, you know, be honest about what we think is the right approach. I think it is the right approach to have Turkey join the European Union. I think if Turkey can be a member of NATO and send its troops to help protect and support its allies, and its young men are put in harm's way, well, I don't know why you should also not be able to sell apricots to Europe or have more freedom in terms of travel. So I think it's the right thing to do. I also think it would send a strong signal that Europe is not monolithic, but is diverse, and that is a source of strength instead of weakness. So that's my opinion. Now, President Sarkozy is a good friend and a good ally. As I said, friends are going to sometimes disagree on this. I haven't had a lengthy conversation with him about his position on this issue. My hope is that as time goes on and as trust builds, that this is ultimately something that occurs. I don't get a sense that his opposition is related to the Armenian issue. I don't think that's it. I think it's a more fundamental issue of whether he's confident about Turkey's ability to integrate fully. But you'll probably have to ask him directly. So maybe when he comes here, he'll have a town hall meeting like this one. Okay. Gentleman right there. Yeah, in this one.
Is that me?
Yeah, go ahead. Here's the microphone.
First, I will ask about the Bush and you differences at the core, because some says just the phases change, and but the core is the same still. They will have a fight with the Middle East, and they will have a fight with the Iran. Mm-hmm. And my second question is, I give more import to this. Will you let the Kurdish state in northern Iraq? Will you allow this?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let me answer. I'll answer the Kurdish question first. We are very clear about our position on Turkish territorial integrity. Turkey is an ally of ours, and part of what NATO allies do is to protect the territorial integrity of their allies. And so we would be opposed to anything that would start cutting off parts of Turkey, and we have been very supportive in efforts to reduce terrorist activity by the PKK. Now, I also think that it's important that the Kurdish minority inside of Turkey is free to advance in the society, and that they have equal opportunity, that they have free political expression, that they are not suppressed in terms of opportunity. And I think that the President and Prime Minister are committed to that, but I want to continually encourage allowing, whether it's religious minorities or ethnic minorities, to be full parts of the society. And that, I think, is very, very important. The first question, if I understood you correctly, is the suggestion that even though I present a different face from Bush, that the policies are the same, and so there's really not much difference. And I think this will be tested in time, because, as I said before, moving the ship of state is a slow process.